What's good everyone, it's Zigzag here, welcome back to another Geoguessr video. Today we are back playing Geoguessr in 2069, which is one of my favourite maps in all of Geoguessr. Essentially the map revolves around the fact that it has every single country in the world, but that it's all in unofficial coverage. So in this map there are no Google metas, it's completely new knowledge, and it's a lot of fun. There'll be play along links in the description, so if you want to try and beat me you can. Let's see if we can have a good game here, and ooh. Interesting start here. Definitely kind of feels Central American. We're not playing panning or zooming, so this is going to be a pure NMPZ experience right here. This is interesting because the curb and the vegetation definitely reminds me of Central America. We may have some like flag motifs going on in the background here. This definitely reminds me of Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua rounds we've had in the past. I could definitely see Panama working quite nicely here, honestly. And it almost looks like as well we had Panama like flags and like maybe Panama colors here. But now I'm looking at this over here and we have some kind of a flag. Now, what country is that? Is that actually a country flag? Or could this be like, could that be the flag of, what's it called now? New Caledonia? Is that the New Caledonia flag? I think New Caledonia flag has similar colors. Now I'm trying to think if this would actually make sense. You know, it kind of would, because the grass almost feels like Queensland, and that's the exact same latitude, of course. Plus it's hilly, which New Caledonia is, so I think I may have picked up what is the main clue here. This car also could be a French car, it could be a Citroen or something, it's hard to tell. But ultimately, I think I have to trust that, don't I? So let's go in the... Does it look like a capital city? It should be, really, because it feels quite developed. So yeah, I'll go out in the suburbs here. And it was indeed there. Okay, nice. A bit of extra flag knowledge comes in handy there. That's very good. I actually had some friends who went and lived there. Some very close friends of mine lived there for some months, so it's kind of cool as well. Next one here, I mean, this should be Europe or Asia, based on the architecture here, I would imagine. It almost feels like Central Asian, especially with the A-frame pole. Could be like Kyrgyzstan or something like that. Now I'm just trying to see what else we got going on here. Like, these are big mountains, but they're nothing too prominent. They're kind of just like a bit like further back set, which is interesting. Because I was watching a vlog recently, which was like in Azerbaijan, which had a very similar kind of vibe, but surely those mountains would be a bit bigger there, I imagine. So I am thinking more Central Asia, or maybe even just Europe still. Like Russia seems pretty good here as well. But that could just be like a German pole or something, you know? It could just be in Austria, Germany, something like that. It's really hard to get based on this building here, because this is not really giving me too much. Is it a church or a town hall or what? It's got a notice board on it, so yeah, I don't really know. And then it's got bells as well, so maybe it is a church. Maybe we should have our sights more back on Europe here, I think. Bulgaria could work, certainly. I don't know about this pole, though. It kind of feels more like German or Austrian, so I may even try Austria here, as strange as it seems. Although the road is quite poor quality, so... I mean, the pole almost looks Hungarian, but I don't really see where we could be in Hungary unless we were right up in the mountains here. We could try that, just for some fun. I mean, everything else would fit, so I don't see why not. Yeah, I feel like I will try it. Let's see if that's actually right. Oh my gosh, okay, not too bad. That was actually just over in Poland, right on the border. So 4.5k is a good score. And to be honest, we didn't have too much to go for there, so I'm happy with that. Losing our country streak, but definitely a good score. Next one here is Russia. I would imagine, at least, we have a round pole here, so maybe it isn't Russia, but it's something post-Soviet. That's like a very Russian-looking speed sign here. Architecturally, yeah, again, like Central Asian stuff definitely works here. I think Kazakhstan is a good shout here. It is very snowy, but Kazakhstan could certainly have that. And then, I don't know, just the round pole doesn't feel too Russian to me. And also this house here kind of feels... I mean, you might see such a house in like Dagestan or something like that, maybe South Russia, but... I don't know, I think it's more common in this area, I would imagine. So I'm just thinking of like clicking one of the bigger towns out here or something like that and giving that a go. Now, we do see a lot of trees, so maybe Kazakhstan's not the best shout. I mean, you can see sections of trees, but like around here, for example, but ultimately there's not too many. Then I would be wanting to try maybe more so down here, but these places are mostly too mountainous, so unless we were like right in the middle of a valley, it doesn't seem that good. And then I don't think it was going to be Belarus. Like, it just feels like, sure, the trees fit, but everything else doesn't feel too Belarus. So it could just be Russia. Also, the pole is not painted. So yeah, I feel like Kazakhstan is still better here, but I'm a little bit worried because it doesn't look that much like Omsk, for example. I don't know. I'll still try it anyway here. Let's go. Let's at least pick somewhere where there are some trees. I feel like there'll be trees here. So let's go in this city here. And it was just Belarus. Wow. So interesting, like, different architecture there. And we got the right latitude, but of course, very, very far away indeed. And so we only get 640 points there. Now, that was very gettable. I don't know, I just got too much of an architectural vibe, which I couldn't shake. But the trees make more sense. Okay, next one here should be Africa, I imagine. We've got houses on stilts here, round concrete pole. Yeah, it still feels West African to me overall, although Asia is still possible. If it was Asia, maybe I would be thinking of like Myanmar or something like that. I don't know what type of poles they use in Myanmar, but that seems possible. But I think really that Africa's better here. Maybe Ivory Coast or something. Again, not really sure about any of the country's poles, and we basically have nothing to go off of here except for architecture and dirt color, and both of those would fit well enough. Especially this gate here feels very African to me. Not to say it couldn't be Asian, but yeah, I mean, this house over here could certainly seem a bit more Asian as well, so I don't really know. This could even be, I mean, I've seen similar houses in like Papua New Guinea or something like that, but surely the rest of the round is too developed, or too much of a city to be that. I'll just try this. It was the first thing that came to mind. Let's see. And okay, it was Myanmar. Damn, I had the call. Yeah, makes sense. I was like, it had to be, if it was Asia, it had to be something I wasn't familiar with, right? And that's like one of the only countries which doesn't have coverage around there, so it makes perfect sense. Okay, well, that's okay. You know, sometimes you are on the wrong end of a 50-50. Okay, last one of the seed here. This is interesting. Kind of reminds me of Brazil, right? Reddish soil, these palms which kind of go up from the ground. Although I'm not too hot on Brazil, just because it doesn't quite feel the same. Although we do have like a very South American fence made of sticks here, so that's at least good. These are like the typical palms found in Maranhão, but that's not to say that this couldn't be, you know, Venezuela or something like that. I think I will try Brazil just because of the fences, but it could even be like, you know, Honduras, El Salvador. I don't really know how much red soil exists around here, but I really have to try Maranhão just because of those poles. So let's go right here. And okay, what's Maranhão? There you go. The Maranhão palms still work on the unofficial map. And there we go. It's 14,000 points. Not a bad effort. Let me know how you did in the first seed. Let's jump into another one. Okay, second seed of the day here. I really like playing without meta. It is good fun. And you never have that feeling that you like cheesed around by just knowing what the road looks like because it was covered in winter or something like that. That is really a nice element of this map. And this one feels to me like Austria. Now, I'm not really sure if this is an Austrian style sign. It certainly could be. In fact, I don't mind it at all. We've got big mountains south here, definitely looking like Germanic architecture. Could also be Switzerland, of course. Guys, does the camera kind of feel low? Does that mean we're in Switzerland? I don't know, but like, it is maybe more Swiss feeling. This fence maybe feels a little bit strange for Austria. I'm not really sure if I'm just speaking out my ass here, but I actually will try Switzerland. Also, the South Mountains, kind of a ridge south, makes just as much sense for Switzerland as it does for Austria in any case. So I would go in Russwil here. Let's give it a go. And it was in Liechtenstein. Interesting. So that makes sense. I got both of those vibes, and it ends up being right in the middle. And definitely a cool Liechtenstein round. And hopefully I can, you know, well, I don't really know if I picked up anything off that. It's pretty much just Switzerland or Austria vibes, but yeah, it's good to know anyway. Next one here, I mean, looks like Spain, right? Yellow field and sign here is interesting, by the way. Is that a Spanish style of sign there? Certainly could be. I guess the other question is, could this be, you know, Sardinia? Could it be Morocco, Algeria, anything like that? Definitely European style signage, but I guess North Africa often uses that as well. I think Spain is best though. It is interesting that it's a dirt road, but ultimately I do think Spain should be the correct answer here. That's a black back of the sign though. But that's just they're just temporary signs, so I don't think I trust it enough. Like, it looks too much like Spain, right? I guess if it is a black back of the sign, then that would put us on Sardinia, or maybe Sicily. So maybe we want to go there. Like, it is tempting. It definitely is tempting. What type of car is that? I'm not sure if there's enough pixels to make that out. It kind of looks like a Mercedes to me. But, yeah, I don't think there's enough pixels to make it out. Not that it being a Mercedes would even help, because that's a German car. So, this is not Germany. So, what do we say here? What do we say? I mean, vibes... Yeah, it's a lot of cacti, though. Vibes might actually tell me to go Italy here. A black back of the sign plus that amount of cacti. I'm gonna do it, guys. Ooh, but then I think Sicily then fits better landscape-wise, just because it is so dry. So I'm gonna try it. Okay, it was Morocco. That makes sense. That makes sense. Something was a little wrong there. And yeah, I mentioned it was possible, but I just thought it was more of a like European style sign. So there we go. That's interesting. If you got that correct, do shout out in the comments, because that's an impressive guess if you did. Anyway, next one here. This feels like Kyrgyzstan, right? But it's not. The mountains are a bit too far apart, maybe. I don't know if that's true or not. Regardless, but that part of the world's somewhere. So, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, China. Let's not forget that China looks like this sometimes. Although I think this is a Soviet infrastructure. So then, what do we want to do here? What about this? This is interesting. I mean, we have like kind of a town over here with quite a lot of greenery. So this is really technically 5Kable, if you ask me. I mean, we could just be along this river, to be fair. I really don't mind that. Although it's more of a north-south road, is it? So, yeah, something around here or something like that. I don't know. I like that just because it's familiar. Although, no doubt we can find very similar places in a bunch of countries. To be fair, look at this. Tajikistan does not have many roads going through it here, which is interesting. Just because it's familiar, and because the poles fit, and because the climate fits, I'm going to go here and try it. And, okay, well, it's Tajikistan. Interesting indeed. Okay, so just on the Afghanistan-Tajikistan border there. Pretty beautiful round in its own way. Very dry. But yeah, we got the right area of the world. That's enough. Next one here is interesting. Big mountains and lots of palms. And is it a Thai pole there? Looks like a Thai lamppost almost sticking out over the road. Not sure if I would have guessed that without it, but now that I see it, and this big jutting mountain, like, does make a bit more sense now, I think. So, yeah, I mean, can it be anything else still? I would say it's like somewhere, I mean, obviously the peninsula has a lot of this, but I was thinking it might not be green enough to be down here, like Krabi, Phuket area. So maybe instead I am thinking like more so up here. I don't know. Let's see how many palms. We did see a lot of palms actually, so I think I will actually switch south here. And that's to our south that we have that huge ridge. So let's just go like here, shall we? And okay, well, it's a bit further up. That's why I got the mixed vibes. But yeah, definitely on the peninsula, you're much more likely to see palms like that, so it's not a bad guess. And the last round here, in the middle of the desert, I don't think it's Australia. This fence doesn't really feel Australian. Probably somewhere in the Sahara then, right? So Egypt, Libya, anything like that. Maybe thinking of like Niger or Algeria or Mali. I think Niger hedge is often decent. Chad hedge could also work nicely here. I mean, I don't really know how they'd be marked on the map, but surely this is not a yellow road. Surely this is a white road that runs somewhere. And look how many towns there are here. I never realized Chad was so populated. There must be oases or something, because how does it support so much life? Anyway, I think I'm going to try Chad just because, well, it's the best named country in Africa. So let's give it a go here. And it was actually UAE. Okay, I didn't think about that with those fences. That's an interesting one. We get 12.9k then. Honestly, it's not a bad effort. Let me know if you beat me. That one was definitely one where you could have. And now let's head through one more time for another seed here. I'm chasing a big score because obviously on this map before I have pulled out some magic. So I want to try and do that again. Anyway, next round here. We've got double yellows in the center here. And was this that round that we had? No, I don't think it is the round on the Laos-Myanmar border. It looks very similar. We've got yellow fences here. You see that quite a lot in Mexico. I wonder if Mexico could be the play here. But the trees, do they feel right? I'm not so sure about that, you know. It does look rather similar to the one we had that was on the Laotian border. I think it's not that. So, double yellows, yeah. That's good to know. I mean, it could be Brazil. Maybe Brazil actually makes more sense here. These lights almost look like Argentinian, similar to the Argentinian street lights, but I don't really think it's Argentina just based on how very green and rolling the landscape is. Maybe Brazil works better than Mexico, though. When I look at these like yellow things, I really do want to go Mexico. So if we were in Mexico, it has to be fairly temperate. This doesn't feel super tropical. So maybe like Guerrero or somewhere in these states here, like this kind of area. I could certainly see it working. I could. If it was Brazil, I would be thinking more like Minas Gerais, maybe Sao Paulo, Parana area, maybe. Although it could just be a country we haven't mentioned. In fact, that's kind of likely. I'm just going to go for it here in Mexico because I think it's most likely, and I want to trust the yellow like bridge guards. But let's see. Okay, it was in El Salvador, so maybe they carry over that practice from Mexico. That's not a bad start, though. I think a lot of people would have gotten further than that, so I'm happy enough with Mexico, yes? Okay, next one here. What's going to happen? I guess because it felt a bit unfamiliar, I should have chosen a novel country. This one is around pole there. Ooh, we got like this kind of yellow Kia, I think it's a Kia, is very typical of Colombia. You get those like taxis like that exact brand a lot in Colombia. And is that yellow plate? Ooh, I think I spied a yellow plate. I think this might be Colombia, you know. This architecture here with these kind of big red bricks with the cement between them, that's very definitely works for Colombia. And this almost feels similar to the coverage they have in Leticia, so I almost feel like this might actually be kind of deep Amazon. Although how many people actually live in a town like this? Not many, I would say. So really, we should be along a river. That's really the way to go here, because these towns actually do have people in them, or at least not that one, but you know, some of these ones, they're actually kind of along trade routes like that, like along the border here somewhere could certainly work. So, I mean, we could just go Leticia here or something nearby. What about like this town? Ooh, it's tempting though. I'm not really fully convinced. That's very risky, because think about how big Colombia is. Like, we're not really getting too many points if we're wrong. And we have a taxi, so it surely is somewhere where you'd at least want to go somewhere with a taxi. So that also does concern me. Are there any big towns in here? Mitu. Okay, Mitu has an airport. It is possible that you might want to do that. So this would be an insane guess if we got it right. Let's actually just pick a road that would actually somewhat fit here. But yeah, I'm feeling that this is probably quite wrong. It is very flat though, which is consoling, I guess. So I guess we could go like there. Okay, so I think it is Colombia. I think with that slight yellowness and this taxi here, we should be correct about it. Beyond that, I have no idea. Let's see it. And, ooh, it was kind of Amazonian, although right up against the mountains, we just couldn't see them there. And it does make sense that we had a taxi because it was in a bigger town. So, yeah, not a bad guess. Getting the country is good there as well, I would say. Let's head through to the next round here. Yellow, white painted at the bottom of the pole here. Kind of feels Argentinian to me. And we even have probably a town name here with a municipality. I'm more focused on everything else here. This looks like an Argentinian pole top. I'm happy for that. It's very dry, and the houses are quite nice here as well, though. That's an interesting house to be on a dirt road. Like, it's quite modern and kind of nice looking. Interesting. So, I mean, something like near Mendoza province could certainly work here. Kind of quite temperate, but also not too much. So we have like grass growing onto the road. So yeah, maybe even a bit further north, like the Roja or something like that, could certainly work here. I don't mind that actually, because I don't think it is too far. I don't think it's Patagonia by any stretch of the imagination. I think it is further north, but then quite dry as well. So yeah, I think I'll give that a go. I feel good about this guess, honestly. I feel like it is kind of in this area here. So let's see it. And it was further north even, yeah. Didn't expect it to be that dry there, but I guess it's just during the dry season or whatever. I mean, that is pretty much tropical, so yeah. Dry season, subtropical, yeah, okay. Second last round of the video here, we are looking at what? Interesting. So we seem to be speaking Spanish, that's fine. Central America again, although we have a yellow plate here, so is this just Colombia? I want to find some evidence that it's Colombia again. I mean, it's a round pole, so that works nicely. We have this kind of electricity kind of thing here, which looks fairly Colombian as well. And we've got Colombian colors on that there. This one might be further north. I mean, I see two people who look like they might be of African descent, which is something that you see on the coasts of Colombia, so maybe more so there. So maybe we're kind of up here, could even be on these Colombian islands over here, not out of the question. Yeah. It feels fairly flat again. We can't really see any mountains, but it would be nice if we could. Regardless, I will try in the city here. Why not? Let's go for that. And it was deep south again. Similar area. Interesting. And that time we actually were on a river. Like, swamped my vibes from the last two Colombia rounds. Unfortunate. We're on a 2-country streak now. Let's see if we can finish it off with a third in a row. And this one's going to be a difficult one to get the country streak on, I feel. Definitely trees feeling European. So does the road. I could still see it being North America, but I think like Europe is better. It's kind of a gravelish road, and the trees are tall. Like, it could be Poland, but I feel like the trees feel a bit different. There's not enough pines for Poland, I would say. So I mean, it's not out of the question to be the UK, but again, I feel like that's a bit wrong. Belgium often has like forest rounds like this on Geoguessr, or normal Geoguessr, so I could see it being that potentially. It also kind of reminds me of the trees in like Austria or something though, so it could be like a flat Austria, flat Germany. I don't mind Germany here actually. I feel like that's actually quite a decent shout. Click in like a forested area here, maybe I mean, there's not that much forest going on there. What about this kind of area here? Black Forest area or something? Although that's too mountainous. So let's go like this, I want to see. Yeah, I feel like that's decent. Now, if anything, it's probably further north. Just like really tall trees that kind of remind me of similar height trees that you get around Moscow, really tall ones. So maybe that would put us in like southern Sweden or something. But I'm gonna try Germany because I feel like I got that kind of vibe. So I'm just gonna hit it here. And it was actually in Belgium, my other thought. So I would actually say I got a good vibe there. Either Germany or Belgium, and we ended up being right on the border. Not too bad. And we ended up with a 13,000 point game there. So nothing, if not a bit consistent there, but no crazy scores today. Still, the map provides such a fun challenge, and I really do love playing it. So guys, thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. Let me know if you enjoyed it and want to see more of these, and I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Till next time, and goodbye.